Let's just jump right in. Look, your company's financial data is probably one of its most heavily guarded secrets, right? You've got firewalls, encryption, super strict access controls, the whole nine yards. But what if I told you the biggest threat isn't some hacker trying to break in? What if your most sensitive financial details are already out there, just sitting in the open, being used to train the very AI systems we use every single day? And just so you know where this is all coming from, for this explainer, we're focusing exclusively on the insights from Chapter 6 of a tutorial by Virtualization Options LLC. We're really going to zero in on the financial risks and the solutions they've laid out. So here's the really uncomfortable truth of the matter. That financial info you assume is totally locked down, well, there's a very, very high chance that little pieces of it, or maybe even the whole puzzle, are already part of the massive data sets that train the AI you might be using. So you're probably asking, how in the world does this even happen? Well, it's almost never one big catastrophic breach. It's more like a slow leak. It happens through dozens of small, seemingly harmless channels that, when you add them all up, create a massive, massive exposure risk. And what's really wild is just how many different ways this can happen. I mean, sure, you've got the obvious stuff like public SEC filings or investor calls, but it goes so much deeper than that. Just think about it. A team member's LinkedIn profile that happens to mention the specific accounting software you use, or a job posting for a financial analyst that accidentally reveals your internal KPIs. Even a case study from one of your vendors could casually drop your average contract value. Each one of those is like a tiny breadcrumb, and AI is absolutely brilliant at following that trail. Okay, enough doom and gloom. How do you actually figure out how bad the damage is? The good news is you don't need some complex hacking tool. Nope, you just need the AI itself. The source material gives us this fantastic toolkit of test prompts you can use, like right now, to see what these models know. First step, you start really broad. Think of this as your baseline test. You're just asking a simple, open-ended question. Hey AI, what do you know about my company's finances? The answer could be crickets, or it could be shockingly detailed. This is your first clue about the AI's general level of awareness. Next, you get more specific and you target funding, which, as you know, is a huge deal for any private company. Can the AI name your investors? Does it know your valuation? AI is incredibly good at piecing together information from press releases and investor profiles that you might have totally forgotten about from years ago. And now, we're getting to the real heart of your business. This prompt isn't just about numbers, it's about your entire strategy. Does the AI actually understand how you make money? If the answer is yes, that could mean your competitive playbook is basically an open book. And this one perfectly illustrates the risk from all those tiny leaks we talked about earlier. This prompt checks for operational details. An AI might know you use a specific accounting system because it scraped that one little detail from a single job posting your company made 3 years ago. You know, a competitor would absolutely love to have that kind of inside info. All right, so you've run the prompts, you've got some answers, and you've found some things. Now comes the most important part. Figuring out what it all means. Because let me tell you, not all data exposure is created equal. Your response has to depend entirely on the context. This is the million-dollar question, isn't it? The one every CFO or head of security is going to ask. Is finding your revenue online a minor headache, or is it a 5-alarm fire? The answer, it turns out, is it depends. And it depends on one single huge factor. And here it is. This is the critical distinction. You literally cannot assess your risk without answering one question first. Are we a public company or a private one? Because the rules of the game are completely, totally different for each. What's a legally required disclosure for a public company is a catastrophic leak for a private one. And you can see right here just how different those standards are. Take a look at revenue figures. For a public company, that's required, it's totally acceptable. For a private one, that's a serious breach. Now, something like your non-public KPIs or cost structures getting out, that's a critical breach for both. But the baseline for what's considered normal is just worlds apart. Getting this distinction right is absolutely everything when it comes to prioritizing what to do next. And this is where things get really, really clever and, frankly, dangerous. The biggest risk isn't just one single piece of data leaking. It's the AI's ability to synthesize information. It's a digital detective. It might see your customer count on a marketing page and then find your average contract value mentioned in some old webinar. Neither piece of info is a secret on its own, but the AI puts them together and, bam, It accurately estimates your annual revenue, a number you thought was private. It literally creates private insights from public facts. So, now that we get the problem and we know how to assess it, what on earth do we do about it? Well, the final part of our source material lays out a super clear, actionable playbook for prevention. This is all about taking back control of your information. And a solution here isn't just technical, it's about having good processes. It all starts with communication controls, setting up strict rules for who says what and where. Then, you need constant monitoring, using those very same prompts we covered on a regular basis, maybe quarterly. For public companies, your filing strategy is key, working with your legal team to minimize disclosures that go beyond what's absolutely required. And finally, you have to have an incident response plan ready to go. Because really, the question isn't if you'll find a leak, but when. So, if there's one thing to take away from all this, it's that managing your company's AI footprint isn't some project you can just check off a list and be done with. No, this is a new, permanent part of your security routine. It requires constant, ongoing vigilance. So, we'll end on this thought. The evidence is pretty overwhelming that some of your financial data is almost certainly accessible to AI right now. The real question isn't whether you're exposed, it's what are you going to do about it? What's your next move?